All right, we are here to do a walkthrough of practice quiz number 2 for learning target number 10 on angle relationships. So starting at the top, identify if the angles below are congruent or supplementary. Write an equation to find their value. So these two here, I'm looking at this angle right here and this one up here. Now, kind of you can use your intuition and say, well, are they congruent? Do they look the same? Yeah, but how do we know for sure? Okay. One way we can think about this is because we see lines are parallel. Okay. Because lines are parallel, that's key. Lines are parallel. We can translate or slide this angle, 87. If we were to translate this down, turns out it would match up perfectly with that angle right there. So we can translate 87 degrees down, and we can create, what kind of angles do we have there? Congruent vertical angles. That is how we know these two angles here are congruent. So our equation would be one angle, 13x plus 9, equals the other angle, 87 degrees. All right, let's look at the other one. Now, here's an angle, 4x plus 3. Here's another one, 53. What do they form? Half a circle. Means they add up to 180 degrees. So you could say, how do you know? They form a linear pair. Or you could say a straight angle or line. Or you can see they make a 180 degree half circle. Any of those explanations would be great. So what's our equation? 4x plus 3 plus 53 adds up to 180. All right, so that's 10.1. It's called congruent or supplementary. Why? Using transformations or what we can see is true about the angles. And setting up an equation. Congruent, they're equal to each other. Supplementary, they add to 180. All right, let's do the next one. Solve your equation from above for x. So I'm going to rewrite it right here. 13x plus 9 equals 87. Now, first step, let's take away 9 cubes. Take away 9 cubes from each side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So 13x equals 78. Now, this is 13 times x. 13 bags equals 78 cubes. How many cubes are in each bag? Divide by 13 to find that x equals 6. Now, how do we show our solution for x results in the correct angle measure? That means we're going to check our equation and say, does 13, instead of x, we're going to put 6. We're going to take, excuse me, this value and substitute it in for x. Okay? Plus 9, does that equal 87? Again, we're just checking to see, is this equation true if we have 6 substituted for x? 13 times 6 is 78. 78 plus 9. Does that equal 87? Yes, 87 equals 87. Check. Let's do the second one. So we start here, 4x plus 3 plus 53 equals 180. Is there anything we can combine? Yeah, how many total cubes are there? 3 plus 53 is 56. So 4x plus 56 equals 180. What can we take away from both sides? We could take away 56 cubes from each side. And then when we do that, we're going to get 4x equals 124. 4 times x equals 124. 4 times x equals 124. 4 bags equal 124 cubes. How many cubes are in each bag? The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. So x equals 31. Again, how do we see that this is true? Well, instead of 4x, instead of 4 times x, we're going to do 4 times 31 plus 3 plus 53. Does that equal 180? Does that satisfy our original equation? 4 times 31 is 124. 3 plus 53 is 56. Does that equal 180? Yeah, 180 equals 180. Check. All right, there's the front side. Let's move on to the back. So to start with right here, we're going to do a angle chase. All right, we're going to do an angle chase here. So to start here, I like to start where I can find vertical angles and linear pairs. So I look here, I don't see any easy linear pairs or vertical angles, but I do see it right here. Notice we can simplify this down to just an x. Excuse me. So this right here, these two together form a linear pair. So 180 minus 125 must be 55 degrees. Then we can also see vertical angles right here and here. So this must be 125. Vertical here and here, 55. You can check that. Do these two equal 180? Yes. Do these two equal 180? Yes. Do these two equal 180? Yes. Do those two equal 180? Yes. Then you know you're good. Okay, next step. How do we keep going? The key here is to identify that these lines are parallel. Those lines are parallel, and these lines are parallel. It is key to identify the parallel lines. All right, because what does that help us do? It helps us recognize where we have corresponding angles that we can translate onto each other. So, for example here, we could take this angle right here, this 55-degree angle, and because lines are parallel, we can translate it over, see the pink parallel lines, to see that this angle right here is exactly the same. So this angle must be 55 degrees. You translate this one over here. Now from here, well, these two are a linear pair, so this must be 125. These two are a linear pair, so that must be 55. These two are also vertical. Now these three must add up to 180. So 180 minus 75 minus 55 is 50 degrees. Great. Now we've got 5 more to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do we go from this line up to here? The key is to see the green parallel lines. Look at the green ones. All right, look at the green. So here, for example, we could pull from this 75 right here. Here's the way that I would do it. Extend this line a little bit up here. Move beyond it. You could take this 75 and translate it up here to see that 75 up there. Because they're vertical, that means these two angles are both 75. This is a linear pair, so this must be 105. How do we get these two? Well, these two lines are parallel, so this 75 must translate over to here. This 105 translates over here. These two are a linear pair. Last step, this angle in the corner, what shape? ABD, this shape right here is a triangle. Therefore, this must be 50 because these three need to add to 180. Okay. All right, last one, problem solving. There's no set way to do this. Every problem is different. Every step is different. You just need to use all your skills and knowledge to figure out whatever it is you can. First step, what does it tell us? ABCD is a parallelogram. That means that is parallel to that, and this segment is parallel to this segment. We know that's probably helpful with angles. And DMN is a right triangle, so we can see that right there. We are trying to figure out this length right here. Okay, what can we figure out from that information? Well, because it's a parallelogram, 80, we know that this must be 100 right here because these two angles need to add to 180 because we've got parallel lines right here, same side interiors. That means this up here must be 100 degrees, but we don't know how to split the 80 down here between those two. But if we could figure out, for example, this angle right here, angle M, that angle would be the same as that angle in there. Those are alternate interior angles. So if we could figure out that angle, we could figure out that angle in there. And then ultimately, we could use trig. So if we could figure out angle MDN or DNM, either of those two, we could use trig to figure out what this hypotenuse is. Okay? So how can we do this? Well, first step here, we got to find the measure of angle AMD. So let's find the measure of angle AMD. It's not a right triangle, so we need to use the law of sines. So sine of angle AMD over the side opposite it, 27 equals the sine of 100 degrees, angle A right there, over the side opposite, 33. Turns out when you go through and solve this, the measure of angle AMD is 53.68 degrees. Now, because these two are alternate interiors, they are congruent. That means the measure of angle MDN must also equal 53.68 degrees. All right, these two orange angles are congruent. They are alternate interior angles. Parallel lines, transversal. Now, from that, we can find x. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we know this right here is 53.68 degrees. Looks like we've got adjacent and hypotenuse, so cosine of 53.68 degrees equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and you're going to find that x is about 55.72 units. All right. Hope that was helpful. Good luck on your quiz.